Hello, this is Prince Insomnia, and welcome back to more Let's Play Xenoblade Chronicles. Since last time I went ahead and did just about every quest we could do here on the Fallen Arm, we got a couple of quests that we can't actually complete at the moment because they require us going on to Mechonis Field, but I collected those just so we could have them, and we can complete them on our way up. So, there you go. In order to get to Mechonis Field, we just need to make our way up this way. It's the same sort of pathway we took to get to Distant Fingertip. It's just instead of climbing all the way up, we just take this little pathway over here and head that way instead. So, yeah, not too difficult to figure. But yeah, so anyway, with the start of Mechonis Field coming up, we're coming across a point in the game where we're basically just going from dungeon after dungeon after dungeon. And we're not really going to be going to very many towns. Mechonis Hidden Magnet Village is basically the last town in the game, which is part of the reason why Hidden Village on the affinity chart really counts as all of Mechonis when it comes to side quests. Just about everything you do on Mechonis counts towards that affinity. So, there you go. So instead of doing what I've been doing, where every time we get to like a certain point in the plot I just stop and do side quests, I'm basically going to be doing like side quest videos as we get to the side quests themselves, because from here on out a lot of the quests are also permanently missable, so there you go. But anyway, let's just head on across this bridge that the game thankfully skips most of for us.
Bionis and Mechonis.
Oh, it's so different, seeing them from this kind of perspective.
We cannot see it from here, but our people are still fighting up there.
It's difficult to believe that two such huge things ever fought each other. I wonder how the Machina felt at the time.
Must have been horrible.
Scary too.
Fear robs us of reason. Out of fear we commit terrible atrocities, and call them acts of self-preservation.
Fear gives rise to more fear. A never-ending circle of hatred.
Perhaps that circle can be broken.
Fear. It must be what's driving this. What's made Egil act this way.
Oh.
We're inside the Mechonis.
Just how I imagined it. It's all totally mechanical. It ain't gonna be easy getting up this thing.
Egil is at the top.
And now we're in Mechonis Field, which is not much of a field at all. It's really just a big mechanical tower. Actually kind of, I guess the other way around, but it kind of reminds me of the World Tree from Xenoblade 2 a little bit, but again, it would be the other way around. The World Tree reminds me of this, but well, I played Xenoblade 2 recently. Anyway, into Mechonis Field itself. Now we're back to areas in which there are collectibles that we might potentially miss out on. From what I've heard, everything you can miss out on here you can collect in Colony 6 as specials. The collectibles from the special areas later on. I don't recommend relying on this, because they're probably rarer than they would be here, but they are there. There's actually quite a few collectibles we need to look out for while we're here. I recommend gathering Azure Hollyhawks, let's see, retro diodes, and mossy panels. I'm not entirely certain what the numbers are for those, but I imagine that 3 or 5 would be what you're looking for. Potentially more, potentially less. Not entirely sure. And now we've got Mechon enemies with a number and a weird name in all caps, because that totally makes 100% sense. Anyway, you may notice we have a quest marker here. If you recall, during the side quest episode, we received the quest to gather some data panels across Mechonis Field. This is one of them. This is not one of them. This is a vision about an item. Well, there you go. There's those retro diodes. So apparently we need 2/3 of them. 2 for Colony 6, 1 for the Collectopedia. If you're completing the Collectopedia, which I am not, actually, so... there you go. I wanted to be quiet for that. I really like the Mechonis Field theme. I think it's a really neat sort of like theme. Like, it's so different to everything we've heard for this point in the game. That's one of the things I like about the Mechonis, is that they do a really good job of driving home that this place is different from Bionis. Like, the music here is no longer like instrumental. It's sort of a weird sort of electronic mix with R&B sort of thing instead of the instrumental or rock music we've had before. That sort of a thing, and I really do appreciate that. The scenery, there's like nothing green here. It's all mechanical. There's Mechon everywhere instead of the enemies we have been fighting up until this point. It's really good. This is a really amazing part of the game, and it's probably just like from here until the next big story beat is probably my favorite part of the game. I'm gonna be, well, past the next big story beat is like my favorite part of the game, like by far.
Come on, we can do it.
That's not to say that the game gets worse or anything like that. Far from it. Anyway, since we got a ton of Mechon enemy in the next coming area, and not as many side quests as we've been having before, I'm going to be fighting probably a little bit more here and there, and either speeding through or cutting out most of those fights. So, there you go. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oof, it was on the tip of my tongue. Oh yeah, with side quests, since I didn't commentate the side quest episode we just did, I should mention that, as you may have noticed if you watched it, the side quests here, there are nowhere near as many, and there are no generic quests at all, but in general, the rewards for completing the side quests on Mechonis tend to be of much better yield when it comes to both the affinity you gain with the area and with the money and experience and items you get from doing them. As you may have seen, because we completed up to level 3 affinity on Mechonis Field in just one side quest episode, or not Mechonis Field, but in Mechonis, just from one side quest episode. It's super easy to bump the affinity of this area compared to every other area in the game. As opposed to, say, something like Colony 9, where we're still stuck at 4, but not quite 4.5, so there are a few side quests we can't access because you need 4.5 or 5-star affinity with that area. You didn't see any of it, but I was uber tilted at how hard it was to get freaking Desiree to open up to me. Anyway, let's head on over this way.
What's up, Shulk?
Look, it's a switch to activate a lift. If we can get it to work, it should take us up.
Ricky want to ride lift?
We can't. There's no power going to it.
Boring!
What do we do?
Well, if we could find the main power supply...
Okay, people, let's get looking.
Yeah. If we can connect the power to the switch, we should be able to use the lift.
Okay, the game really had to do a big think about that story quest. Use the GF Master Power Panel to start the second lift. Sure! That feel when no GF Master Panel. I don't remember how to get there. But I'm sure I'll know it when I know it. That would be that, actually. There's definitely a way to get down there. Sorry, I'm thinking about something later. Anyway, conveniently the panel we're looking for this time happens to be... No, there's an item over here.
This power will help me protect Shulk.
Juicy steak plant. Could you imagine if steak grew on trees? That would be amazing. There's an awful lot of, like, veg-related stuff for an area like this, isn't there? Anyway, that got the lift working. So now we can just head on back there. That's basically how this area is kind of going to work, is we're going to have lifts that we can activate using control panels to move on to the area. We're basically trying to make our way up the Mechonis. There we go. Kind of a weird shape for a lift, isn't it? Get the third lift moving now, so now we need to use the first floor Master Power Panel to get the cylinder activation panel working. You know, as one does. There is a red exclamation mark, which means a quest objective is over this way. Let's see, we've got offensive scout units. These are actually going to make it really difficult to move on this platform. So I'm going to lure him, actually, and just kill him. The reason why I'm actually fighting this guy is because the scout units or aerial units like these tend to have really awful hitboxes when it comes to, like, just moving around, and they reduce a chance that they could actually just push me clean off the platform, and that would be bad.
Right, let's keep going.
I think there's something to catch you at the bottom of this, but, like, it's better to avoid it. Like, same with this guy, I'm just gonna lure him and run.
One, two, cross it!
I did not mean to do that. That works too.
Good enough.
Shulk! Wow, nice dodge.
Everyone, let's go!
I don't think I have them. Okay, I just wanted to check to see what kind of drones I had in my inventory, because I thought I had one with Gun Drones 1, but I think I saw it in the shop and decided not to pick it up. Oh well. It's unfortunate, because an area like this does actually benefit a lot from having Gun Drones 1, but oh well. If you have... So, to explain, Gun Drones 1 basically is an area of effect talent art that hits in a circle around Fiora instead of a line in front of Fiora. And it's super beneficial in this case because most of the time, if you're not as high leveled as I am, you're probably going to be fighting groups of Mechon enemies. If you are as high leveled, then you should be fine though. I'm level 62, which is pretty good for Mechonis Field, but we could stand to get a few more levels before we move on. The overall goal is to hit level 70 by the time we face Egil, so we should be capable of doing that. The quests we had on the Fallen Arm are not the end-all, be-all quests for the Mechonis as a whole, there are actually more that we will be getting as we continue on with this area. If you remember, the quest To My Loved One is taking us to the Machina Refuge. They have more quests for us up there, so there you go. Kind of weird to have quest givers in the dungeon area, but it really just happens to be that way. M76 moist. At least they had the sense not to put a different number.
Is everybody ready?
Everyone, do your best. Don't hold back. Electric gut bust.
I'm so upset. I really am. But you know what? I'll just take out my upsetness on this thing and annihilate it with Fiora. Also, if you haven't been equipping Mechon or anti-Mechon weaponry, or I think they're called Mechonis weaponry now, or something like that, or Machina weaponry, yeah, that's it. If you haven't been equipping them up until this point, one, you should. There are a lot of really good weapons for fighting Mechon in Hidden Machina Village that you should start buying now. Oh, this is such a nope. Holy cow. Get me back. Have you ever done things in video games where you just immediately nope out of it? Yeah, that's how that felt. God. Like, that was just an IRL fear of heights moment right there for me. Anyway, crap. Yeah, okay, anti-Mechon weaponry. If you haven't been buying them up until this point, you can actually start to find Machina weaponry on the Mechon enemies in the area now. So, maybe don't worry about it overly much, but still it would be a good idea to have some going into this area. If you have a 3-slotted weapon you're really attached to and you're using Shulk for this area, then maybe you can forgo it, but honestly at this point it's better just to have Shulk use some of his other Monado arts. Like the one we got from a side quest that I actually just totally forgot about until right this moment because I was distracted. Yeah, this is actually pretty good for a shot. Anyway, oh my god, I'm slacking. I'm sleeping on y'all. Anyway, yeah, I actually did buy some art books. So, yeah, I totally slept on that. Somehow we got the Cure Bullet art book. Not sure where from. But, you know, that works out. And we got the armor records. Which means we now have... If I can show this off... We now have Monado Armor. It's the only way in the game that Shulk can reduce the damage from an ether art whenever you get a vision. Other than that, basically it uses a large amount of the talent gauge and gives everyone physical and ether damage protection for several minutes. It's incredibly handy to have. This needs to be level 7 like yesterday. It's incredibly handy to have in most circumstances, but it's not like the most critical Monado art to boost. Yeah, it'll suck when you're getting pounded by ether damage, but the deadliest ether arts you're going to be coming across don't happen until after the next big story beat anyway, or like in the post game or stuff like that. So it's one of those you want to boost eventually kind of a deals, but it's not like you need to boost it right now. What would be good to boost? Yeah. I have a lot of AP that I'm gonna actually wait to expend until we're between episodes, if you don't mind. Because I don't want to interrupt this episode, and we are getting kind of close to the time limit anyway, so... Well, not time limits, per se. But the point in which I would like to end the episode is rapidly approaching. Is that an area we have to get down to instead of go up from? That might be the case. Well, let's just use this cylinder activation panel and see what be going on. Oh, that's right! It's a spiral staircase. I totally forgot. I'm slacking. Okay, in my defense, though, I did say that I had been playing the 3DS version of this game for a while, but I only made it, like, I only made it past the Ether Mine in that playthrough. I never really got much further than that, and that was the last time I played this game. The first time I played this game was the first time I played through this game entirely, so you'll have to forgive me if I start forgetting things about, like, some of the super late game areas, because it's been 4 years since I last played this game. Like, I have pretty sharp memories on, like, some of the major boss fights in this area, for the most part, but yeah, it's been a super long time, so you'll have to forgive me if it seems like I'm stumbling around in the dark a little bit, because in some ways I kind of am, a little bit. On the flip side, though, this is why, in fact, we were given maps. I know where we are. Okay, so we just need to make it past Faith, Cord, Trick, and another Faith over here. Speaking of an alien environment, I don't think I mentioned this when we first met the... Ooh, nice mossy panel. I don't think I mentioned this when we first... If I could get through one sentence without sneezing or being distracted, it would be brilliant. I didn't mention this when we first found the Machina, but I really do appreciate how the mechanical race in the game looks super alien compared to, like, the Homs or the Nopon or the Hyantia. Like, they definitely, like, they don't just look like, what's a good example? Like some of the like Data from, they don't just look like Data, where they're basically like human, but they're mechanical. They look like different. They have bits and bobs sticking out everywhere. Their kids are basically like machine pods with little babies inside that they kind of just grow into and become one with the machine. Like, it really drives home just how different... Nah, I'm not going that way. How different the Machina are compared to the races of Ionis. And I like that. I like it when they have, like, it makes a lot of sense for them to be quite different, because they're not biological life at all. They're mechanical life. So, obviously they wouldn't look quite the same as biological life. Of course, you might be asking, wait a minute, Princess Omnia, why do they look like people still? Shouldn't they look like robots completely? And there's a reason for that. But I won't talk about it anymore, because that hasn't been explained yet. I seem to remember there being a fight in this area for some reason. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. Wow, it's actually been like a full in-game day while doing this. Huh. That's impressive. Alright, that got the lift working after I waxed poetic about all manner of things. We're gonna climb up this and head on up into the lift to continue on our exploration of Mechonis Field in the next episode of Let's Play Xenoblade Chronicles. See you guys then!